Hey, it's Kat again. So something Tiffany said in one of the comments started me thinking about negativity and how you clear it. Tiffany said, I take an Epsom salt soak, which is great, but you can't exactly do that in the middle of the day. So I'm going to give you some practical things that you can do in your clinic space quickly and easily that will allow you to clear negativity really fast. So sometimes people bring in negativity. Sometimes it's your patients. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes other practitioners in your building. It can come from all kinds of places. Sometimes some people's negativity is so negative that they come into the area and you can kind of feel it. So how do you get rid of that? So I'm going to give you some practical ways to do that. Okay, so one way to clear negativity, this is fast, it's easy, it smells really nice, is called rose water. Make sure it's not a rose spray, but rose water. So rose water is infused rose petals. You can do your own. These are nice. I really like them. I get them from a place called heritagestore.com. I got them somewhere here in town, but for the life of me, I can't remember where. And it lasts forever, so like I'm going to remember. But this stuff is great. You just spritz it anywhere you want. It freshens up the room like an air freshener, but it's not that perfumey. And it also has the power of just to clear the room. You can use rose petals around your clinic too. That would work as well. So rose is a really powerful thing to do. Really simple, really easy. Somebody leaves, you feel a bit weird about how things feel after they go. You spritz it around the room. I spritz it in, I do this for all kinds of clearing. I spritz it in the corners. I spritz it around the windows, the doors, the vents, the floor, the ceiling. So that kind of covers the entire environment and you're good to go. Here's another handy way to clear negativity out of a room. For those of you who have the Reiki, Reiki 1 or Reiki 2, here's what you do. For Reiki 1, you enable the Reiki. Reiki flows through me, or whatever phrase you use to enable it. And you sit in the room and you get quiet and you get clear and you channel Reiki into yourself. That's a really excellent way to clear negativity from yourself and to make yourself just kind of back to zero, back to good. You can also see the Reiki filling up the room, kind of like when I described the shielding where you bring the Reiki down and you bring the energy down into you and let it fill you up. You let the Reiki fill the room. So that's one way to go. If you have Reiki 2, use the Choku-Ray symbol. Choku-Ray is a power and it's a protection symbol. So you do it much the same way you do the rose water. On the ceiling, on the floor, every wall in your room. Also cover the windows with a Choku-Ray. Do a Choku-Ray with the door, the vents, all the corners, all that stuff. That fills the room with Choku-Ray, gives you a nice set of protection. So that's a nice thing to do for yourself too. Here's another way. Okay, next tip. Let's talk about salt. Salt has some fantastic properties. Doesn't have to be Epsom salt. It can be a simple sea salt. What you do with the salt is you can do a couple of things. The first one is a little bit grandiose. It really works great. It's as good as saging a room to smudge it and cleanse it, but it doesn't leave the smell of sage. So what you need for that is a simple tray. Anything that's fireproof will work just fine. You need a tile to set it on top of. You're going to put this in the center of the room. So this needs to be a heat-proof tile. A cheap sample tile from Home Depot will do just fine. The bowl of salt will work just fine if you want. That'll ground out the heat as well. It just needs to be heat-proof. So you put that into the center. You put the fireproof surface in the center of the room. Put this on top of it. Put enough Epsom salt in here to just fill the bottom of it. You just want to not be able to see the color across the bottom. So a ½ inch, ¼ inch at the very outside. You are also going to need some 91 proof alcohol, which you probably have around for your moxa purposes. You need something to light it with. Before you light it, before you pour the alcohol, you want to crack a window about so much. Shut all the doors, but crack a window if you've got a window to crack. If you don't, you can crack the door. That's fine too. You need an exit to the outside because you want to give whatever negative thing is stuck here a way out the door. So once you have your way out the door, you shut everything else except for that way out, and you announce to the room, I'm about to clear the room. This is the way out. Please make use of it because I'm about to do this and it's going to push you out and it's going to be violent. I don't want that to happen. So these negative entities, these are negative by our standards. They're not really negative. They just are. So we want to honor them and respect them as well and give them the opportunity to leave when they need to. So giving them the way out, then you take this tray and you pour a couple of caps of alcohol into it. Again, just enough to wet the Epsom salt. You don't have to drown it because you want this to burn off fairly quickly. Once it's there, you want to light it. So you're going to need a lighter or a match. something like that. And you light it and you stand back. Now, interesting things happen when you do this. If there is truly something negative in your environment, the flame will be very, very erratic. It will look purple. It has a very odd quality to it, and it'll be very erratic. So you let it burn off, and you do it again. If that's what happens, you do it again. If it burns quietly, everything is good. You don't need to do it again. But if it burns really erratically, yes, there's something negative that's being pushed out of the environment. So you want to add a little bit more alcohol, you want to do it again. It might burn erratically again if there's a really strong negative energy in the room. If there's not, it'll probably be just as cool as can be. When it burns nice and evenly, which is what it should do, you'll know that you're done. That's it. Really super simple way to clear a room. Doesn't leave any lasting smell, which is really, really nice, like sage does, and it's a fast way to clear the room. Now, if you're not interested in that, and you know that you're done for the day, and you have time for the smoke to clear out, you can burn sage. I recommend white sage. It seems to work the best. If you don't like the smell of white sage, I don't really care for it. It triggers my asthma. Don't like that. You can get these nice braids of sweetgrass. They're about this long. You can get them at Nature's Treasures. You can get them at several bookstores. I've seen them at half price on occasion. I don't see them all the time, but I have seen them there. Whole Earth Books has got them. Book People has got them. So you can get them in a variety of places. And the sweetgrass works really, really well. Most of the things I've talked to you about, you probably have a lot of this stuff just laying around your house. You don't have to buy anything special. You can get a little bit more grandiose than this. One way to get a little bit more grandiose is to use Oreonite. This is a chunk of Oreonite that somebody made for me. Matter of fact, Matt Dorsey made it for me. You'll know him as Frank Olson if you know him on Facebook, because he doesn't go by his own name. What this is a combination of ground crystals and some metal. That's the metal that you see around here. There's also a big chunk of crystal right in the center, but you can't see it so well because of the shape of the mold. This is resin, and it's got the ground crystals in it. You can also see a little bit of rock that is built into it as well. So these are combinations. It's like a formula made out of rocks. Pause. There are guys yelling outside my office. Okay, so here's a couple of more things you can do. So that was one chunk of Oreonite. Sorry, jump tracks. So that was one chunk of Oreonite. Here's a really bare bones chunk. This is made out of an ice cube tray. Not gorgeous, but it gets the job done. Same thing. It's got ground crystals in here. It's got a little bit of metal. If you look very carefully when you're holding it, you'll see that there are pennies in here. That's the metal that they've chosen to use as copper. So that's another chunk, and it's just functional. It's not gorgeous, but it's just functional. Here are some that he made. See that little thing right there? That's a chunk of Oreonite. It's a dome on one side. It's flat on the other. These you can lay actually on acupuncture points. That's kind of cool. This is a little cube of Oreonite. So there's all kinds of different flavors. I have some others that he's made that are just really, really gorgeous. So Oreonite is ground crystals, a little bit of metal, and some bigger crystals to kind of work as sort of the keystone, kind of like the guiding point in a Master Tongue thing, Master Tongue protocol. So what Oreonite does is it sets up something called a scalar wave. Scalar waves tend to break up EMF, which is really nice because we're sitting here in front of computers. Well, obviously I am because I'm a nerd. And you know that I've spent a lot of time sitting in front of computers. So Oreonite's a big deal to me. It does break up electromagnetic frequencies. It breaks up negativity. It helps generate really good chi. You can take this chunk, this very ugly chunk, you can rub it around your palm like this, and you can actually feel it. You can feel it like you feel a Reiki charge if you've ever done Reiki. So Oreonite's a really cool thing to do. I have several pieces sitting around my office. Let's take a quick tour of where they are. Chunk of Oreonite. That sits underneath my table. This one is really, really gorgeous. Really beautiful, and it was kind of a, I don't know, a commissioned piece. I asked for it. If you look at the side, that's kind of the symbol that Mickey Osenki uses for esoteric acupuncture. The purple that you see is amethyst crystal, that's ground. There's the metal symbol he designed and had 3D printed. On the bottom are 3 big spheres of crystal quartz. So that's that Oreonite piece, and again, that sits underneath the table. And that just grounds out negativity. It also builds really good chi, and the patients seem to really like looking at it with their face down. The moral of that story, having Oreonite around your office really grounds negativity. It builds just a really positive environment, so that's something else you can do for yourself. Let's talk about less man-made crystals. Selenite, for instance. Selenite is a kind of a miraculous piece of quartz-type crystal. It's got these beautiful lines in it. that are striated up and down. Selenite has a very unique property of not just grounding out negativity, but actually transmuting, wow, look at that, actually transmuting negativity and changing it from something negative into something positive. So it really, more than purifies your environment, it takes what's available and transmutes it into something really, really good. I got these. It's a selenite wand, or selenite sword if you prefer. This is a grandiose piece of selenite, and I use it as a energetic tool. Got two of them. Here's the shorter one. Selenite's really fantastic. It not only does this for your environment, it also does this for your other crystals. So if you use crystals regularly in your practice, you can lay the crystal on top of the selenite, and it will cleanse it for you. Really nice. So you never have to do anything else to your crystals. That just cleanses automatically. You can use a chunk of crystal. So this is, like I said, kind of grandiose. It was created. It's a couple $100. But you don't have to spend a couple $100. You can go to Nature's Treasures if you're local to the area, or wherever you lived and where you get your crystals. You can get a stick of selenite about so long, and you can use that. I have a friend who uses one just like that. You can get selenite massage wands for about $12. And you can drag that through your patient's aura, through your own aura. You can use it to cleanse your chakras and to energize your chakras. It's a really nice thing to have around. So that's a really fast way to cleanse yourself after somebody leaves your office that's kind of creeped you out a little bit. Let's see if I've got anything else to tell you. I actually wrote notes on this one, so I'm a little bit scripted, a little bit more organized. I believe that's pretty much it. There's like a jillion ways to do this. So these are just a few ideas that you can use to cleanse your environment, cleanse yourself, make everything back to good. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Governor Chris Christie with your energetic aura cleansing stuff.